The multiple blasts lit up the Gaza sky as Israeli forces continued with their offensive on the Gaza Strip. The fighting is intensified in Gaza's overcrowded hospitals, and also Doctors Without Borders have now said that they've lost complete contact with their staff inside Gaza's biggest healthcare facility, the Al-Shifa hospital. In the latest, Saudi Arabia is now hosting a joint Arab-Islamic summit in response to the unprecedented crisis that is being witnessed in the Gaza Strip. The WHO's director has said that till now nearly about 250 attacks have been staged by Israel on the health facilities of the Gaza Strip.
The situation on the ground is impossible to describe. Hospital corridors crammed with the injured, the sick, the dying, morgues overflowing, surgery without anesthesia, tens of thousands of displaced people sheltering at hospitals.
The Palestinian ambassador Riyad Mansour, while addressing the United Nations Security Council, said that hospitals in Gaza have become Israel's primary targets and has called on its members to act now to stop the massacres that are happening on Gaza's hospitals.
As we speak here, hospitals have become Israelis' primary target. They are besieged and their vicinity bombed. What we should say to them from the Security Council: stop the massacre.
Meanwhile, the heads of state and governments from nations including the likes of Syria, Indonesia, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Bahrain, Egypt and Iran have all arrived in Riyadh to attend a summit on the impending Gaza crisis. The Iranian president, who is in Saudi to attend this summit after a long time, has called for unity of Islamic nations, saying that action is what is needed and words are simply inadequate.
این میدان دیگه میدان سخن تنها نیست که فقط سخن و اعلام موضع بشه. باید میدان عمل باشه و اقدام.
So as the number of civilian deaths continue to mount and fighting near hospitals intensifies in the Gaza Strip, Israel is facing renewed international pressure, including from its ally, the United States, to do more to protect the loss of civilian lives. The French President Emmanuel Macron has now come forth and said that it is important that Israel should stop bombing the babies in Gaza, and it would be in the interest of Israel to in fact now resort to a ceasefire.
And let's be clear, I mean, I was one of the first leaders to call the Prime Minister and President of Israel after the terrorist attack, the 7th of October. We clearly condemn this terrorist attack and this terrorist group and recognize the right of Israel to protect itself and react. But day one, we say that this reaction and the fight against terrorism, because it is led by a democracy, should be compliant with international rules, rule of war and humanitarian international law. And day after day, what we saw is a permanent bombing of civilians in Gaza. I think this is the only solution we have, this ceasefire, because it's impossible to explain we want to fight against terrorism by killing innocent people.
Now, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu visited a series of bases, military bases that is adjacent to the Gaza Strip in the south of Israel. The Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu told the soldiers that the country had very, very difficult days ahead with this war.